Hey guys, and welcome to episode 45 of Dad Knows Best. Dizzying heights of the late 40s now.
Late 40s?
I think made no sense.
I think it's the exact mid-40s, Harry.
Oh gosh, it's been a long day.
I thought you were going to say a long week then. I'm like, it's Monday.
I am Harrison Mudge, father of one, and I'm with my co-host and father of two.
That he knows of. I'm joking.
Adam Callow.
How you doing, mate?
I'm all right. Yeah, it feels like a long day. It's flown by, but it's felt really fast.
I was actually just thinking,
I mean, we had a 4:30 coffee. That's how the day's gone.
Yeah, completely.
Is a good barometer for.
And I got in early this morning, but feeling jazzed. But my energy levels have been high like all day, which has been good. I think just well hydrated, not too much caffeine.
Key. That is key.
I think an afternoon pick me up.
And caffeine as well. You raise a good point there. That
kids in caffeine.
The caffeine, like you can over caffeinate.
I have been.
Like you just like that wasn't like you over caffeinate. No, it was more like people can like, oh, I'm tired, coffee,
mm-hmm.
and you like drink. And I've done it myself. I remember I used to have like one coffee a day. Joined Expert Trades, who we work for, and I was having like 5 coffees a day.
The Expert Trades
I'm like, oh my god, I need to drink some water.
Yeah.
But you just realize that then it's the same with like chocolate and other stuff. You end up just on a roller coaster of like caffeine. I feel good, I feel great, and then caffeine runs out. I feel shit, and I need more caffeine, and it's just a roller coaster.
Same as meth.
For anyone that's new to the show, watching or listening, this is a show about just a couple of friends sharing pop tips and advice. Yeah, the other friends will be on the show at some point. I have them, honest. This one is contractually obligated to be on this show, so. But yeah, we just share what it's like. What it's like for us being parents. We share some tips, some advice, war stories. That we're not liable for. If you take any of our tips away, that is.
We try and put a PSA. Note. We probably need it permanently in the comments or the description.
Just get it scrolling along the bottom
wherever
of the
this thing shows up. News tonight.
Today is actually a part 2, Adam.
Was I here for part 1?
You were.
What was
So
part
obviously last week we spoke about, or we started the conversation about tech. When do kids?
Oh, kids and tech. Yeah.
Get iPads? When do they get PCs, computers, and things like that?
Mm-hmm.
We realized it led on to a much deeper debate.
Mm-hmm.
I want to carry on that debate.
Okay.
But with a bit more of a focus again today. So today I want to talk about social media and the World Wide Web.
Have you written this note down somewhere? Is that why you read it like a news reporter?
Perhaps. Fail to prepare and prepare to fail.
Nice. Okay.
So
what else have you prepared?
Bits.
Cool.
So the reason I thought let's go down this route is one, because I think it's just a really meaty topic, and it'll fill half an hour,
which will fulfill your contractual obligation to the audience.
But I also had this conversation actually with a friend recently, because he's got a daughter who is 13 or so, and she's just started to. Well, not just started, but she's on social media, and there's a whole. So I had a kind of a conversation about this with him, and I can't remember whether that and comments that you said inspired this series, we'll call it, or whether it just happened to be the same sort of time. Don't know, but it was just like a really interesting conversation to have with him, because he was literally having genuine struggles that. A lot of parents might have, and what we're kind of talking about is like, when's the right time? How do you tackle it, and things like that. So let me just fill you in with sort of the circumstances that he's had.
Let's go.
So he's got his daughter, and I don't know the full ins and outs of like the arguments, is what he said that they've had, but they've apparently had some serious fallings out to the point where she's banned from. She's not allowed on Snapchat, and she's not allowed on, or she's got limited time on Instagram.
Oh wow, it's differentiated between platform.
Yeah.
Why?
Not sure exactly why. Again, you didn't go into the details. Maybe we can have him on the show one day.
It's maybe because we're not women and we don't gossip.
Yeah, you know what? That is,
you know what I mean? Like the amount of times I've gone home and he's like, I'll say like a line, and it's like, oh, why did you do that? Why did she do that? And it's like, I don't know. It just told me this, and but did you not ask? No.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you can't do that anymore. It's like, oh, why is that? I was like, well, that's not a detail I thought was relevant. I thought
it's completely relevant. I'm like, fuck it is to your life.
In the vast but very shallow knowledge that I gathered from the conversation, the key moments of it is limited time. He's got parental controls, which can, so he, and I didn't realize it. You've probably seen this side of it. Can you see what they've been on, what they are on? And,
yes.
And to what level of detail?
So you can restrict apps, and you can see basically time. Like, do you know where we've got our screen time thing?
Yeah.
Basically,
it just runs off that data.
It's just that. Cool. Just that data.
So yeah, so it was just really interesting to hear that he's stopped her from going on specific social media apps and limited her time on other things. And again, I don't know what they had. I didn't want to dive into it because the reason they didn't ask, the reason men tend not to ask, is because you normally get a vibe from them when the way someone says it. Mm-hmm. Like he said, oh, we had a big falling out about it, so now she's not allowed on it.
Yeah, at that point, like, a woman would go, "Ooh, tell me more."
Yeah,
sit down.
Not all, but like the
fucking wife's terrible.
But the way he said it, though, I was like, okay, it sounds like something serious happened, and that's kind of what I want to talk about today. Is like, obviously, your boys are too young for social at the moment. They don't get it or don't want to go on it, whatever it might be. I'm not a massive social media user myself anyway. Well,
can I just challenge that? And let me just throw one thing across before you jump into the meat and bones of it, is just to
this is where you say Riley and Reggie have got a mean Instagram game.
600,000 followers.
Subscribe.
No, YouTube, we don't class as a social platform. How we're talking about it. Do you agree?
Yes, it is not. I would say, in my opinion, that YouTube is not social media. There's comments and stuff like that, but it doesn't have the direct... I'm
throwing it into this largely because there's watching YouTube, which is consumption, which is, for me, the same as Netflix. It's just another channel.
Yeah.
Being a creator on YouTube is something that Riley's interested in because he sees a lot of it, okay? And I see too much of Ryan, and I'm just like, okay, just make your own videos, dude. Let's just like be more creative. Don't just consume all the time. And we did one video for a science project, which it was great fun. Like Mary Anning is the greatest fossil hunter of all time. True story. She had a hard life.
What makes her the greatest?
She was just... there's loads of facts.
Clearly, you did the majority of this work, so you should know.
Because she found some stuff that I can't pronounce, and she was persistent. She built up a big collection, and because my son ended the video with Mary Anning is the greatest, and he had loads of energy, the greatest fossil hunter of all time. I want to try and find a segment and send you some audio to drop into this. If I do that, you do that. If it doesn't end up here, it's because I didn't send the audio in. But he really enjoyed being a creator and making that content. So he's like, what else can we make? So that's why I wanted to just say, I think being a consumer on YouTube, not social. I think being a creator on YouTube opens up to social because of the comments, because of the two-way interaction.
So I think you actually raise a very interesting dynamic there, because the platforms themselves have what's the word I'm looking for? So when you look at Instagram, there's a style, right, to the content that you put out. Obviously, you can choose your own style. Like, you can be someone that takes pictures of birds, but when you look at people's Instagram, that it's the same stuff, right? Is it narcissistic? Is like the style of that platform. It's all about me a lot of the time. And
But I disagree. I think you look at generally social in a very negative way. Generally, you do.
I think that's somewhat based on this nature though, and that's the point I'm trying to make, is that most of the because of the nature of it, in the sense that it's all about the me, is that
But it's not.
but to you maybe, but that what I'm saying is the reason why a lot of kids get into a lot of issues is because they're all connecting with each other and they're all feeling like they've got to put images out there, because Instagram is fake most of the time. If you look at someone's following,
It's getting interesting. This is.
but this is what it all stems from, is what I mean, is that when you look at someone on Instagram,
No, but here's the fact.
not everyone.
You curate your own feed.
yeah, but
So if you think something's fake, you unfollow, and fakeness is out of the feed.
I agree. But what I'm saying is these kids,
Yeah.
these damn kids, are able to follow who they want, right? And therefore creating their own curating their own feeds.
Yeah.
But the concern is you as a parent then have no control over what they're allowing themselves to be exposed to. And if they happen to follow the right things, that is positive imagery and all this jazz,
You've just come up with $1 billion idea.
then
by the way.
fantastic.
Imagine a social network where the people that you follow, the same way that my kids, when they want to, my kids can't buy stuff in the App Store. They have to ask permission. Okay. They kind of don't know how to navigate the App Store and do that yet, but it stops any accidents happening. So a pop-up comes on my phone that says, hey, Riley would like to do this. Allow. Imagine a feed or an app which was like Instagram. Fucking hell, we're giving away the idea here, by the way. Like, guys, like,
I'll leave a link to invest in the
Imagine Instagram for kids, where every person...
Kidstagram. No, sounds way too weird. That as soon as I said it.
Fuck. Oh, you killed it,
There's a
man. People are
big
going to be like,
hole.
oh, yeah, you the guys who want to start Kidstagram. Fuck.
It's a curated child social media, is what we've just said.
But
I am not involved with it. I'm out.
there's an audio snippet feed. But imagine a feed on Instagram with parental controls where everyone that they want to follow, you can click and see the type of content they put out. And you go, this person is putting out positivity into the world. Mike, I'm happy for my kid to follow that feed. That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would change my whole fucking view on how I allow my kids to enter into the world of social media. Because if I can surround my kids with positivity, then all of a sudden when they're old enough, they've got their own Instagram app and they're following people, they'll be like, well, this guy's just being negative. This guy's just being narcissistic. And it will train them to go, actually, there is positivity on these platforms compared to go in, create your own feed, see people being narcissistic, always on me, which I agree with that comment people do. And they condition themselves to think this is the norm. I need to do it too. Yeah. Take a photo, only got 3 likes, delete the photo, feel shit, cry in my bedroom, like all that. If you can convert it into positive, that would be amazing.
And that's what I'm saying. I think that's where a lot of these issues sort of stem from, because it's just the internet. People can put out what they want to put out, but when you're young, you're not really. I mean, we didn't really have this issue because we grew up as all this was coming in, right? So we had friggin' MySpace and all this jazz. But now these platforms have built their own styles and things like that. So there's just like the opportunity for it to warp is probably a bit of a extreme word, but like I say, when you've got a curated feed that makes you think that, wow, this is what everyone's day-to-day lives are like. People driving up, kids aren't going to follow this, but like there's the stereotypes of people driving fancy cars with fancy watches, doing nice things in nice places and stuff like that. That's not most people's day-to-day lives. And if you're aware of that, you can see it and go, okay, cool pic, whatever, and you can appreciate it for what it is. But if you're sort of naive enough to think that, wow, this person is living the dream every day, this isn't just for kids either. This is like even for adults.
Agree, but I think even in the micro, it's happening. You look at my kids, like Reggie, who follows Ryan's World or whatever his name is.
What does he do? I feel like we spoke about it.
Yeah, so Ryan is like the largest earning child influencer, turn it like 19 million quid or something like that from YouTube.
Jeez.
And he just reviews toys all the time. And obviously Reggie just thinks, and it's a micro influence to what you just said. It's like, oh, kids get toys. Like this kid's got all these toys. Why don't I have all these toys? That's their logic. It's like, cool, toys are everywhere. I want all these Ryan's toys. And that's when you have to start putting the training wheels on with the kids and start teaching them, no, like this kid does this. This is how this works for him. This isn't normal. But it happens from that level all the way up now. That's why I threw YouTube into the mix, because it 100% influences kids.
Yeah. And so my question is like, how, if at all possible, do you control that? Do you educate around it and things like that? So to bring it, let's pick on a platform for a second. So let's choose Instagram. Like, I like Instagram, it's fun, but even I'm like, as with most things, you can fall into a pit of just swiping, and you just like scrolling, and then I'm like, I've been sat on the toilet for 20 minutes, my legs are dead.
Yeah, I've never experienced that until I downloaded TikTok and I was in a TikTok hole.
Yeah, that's why that's why I refused to download it, because it's
it's such a well-built platform, because you get instant gratification so quick, and then it plays the next video, and you're just in this loop. It's just so effective.
But like how do you control if all of a sudden Riley is like saying like, oh, I don't know, he's showing signs that he's not happy about something, or why are other people like this, or get this, or do this, or why don't we, like, how do you?
But that's assuming that I've let Riley onto Instagram. I think the first question is like,
yeah, and so step one then is so he would still have to get permission to download the app, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think in terms of T's and C's, unless you're 13, you can't. Obviously, you can put a different date of birth in, but I think T's and C's are you.
Okay.
So I assume that you can actually download it.
So when he's old enough,
yep.
Are you still going to be monitoring his app downloads? Because by the time he's 12, 13,
no, I won't be managing.
You're probably loosening the reins significantly.
No,
right?
I won't be. I definitely won't be looking at his app downloads at that point in time. I'll be more looking at his output and his behavior at that time. Like, I think he's 6 now, 6.5, and I think I've probably got not even until he's 13, because they're going to get on it early. It's just natural. People will download it. He's probably going to be on it.
Well, I think the minimum age for Facebook was 16 at the time. I remember fudging numbers to get on it back in the day when it was coming in.
But I think by the time they're 10, 12, I think by the time he's like 12, I'll be more looking at like the output. I think I've probably got until the point he's 10 to craft him and mold him so he understands what the real world is, and that he needs to be self-aware and self-confident, and to the point where he's in school and he is aware that there are such things as bullies in the world. Like, he needs to understand. He doesn't know that right now. He's had one experience with a dickhead called Jack. Dickhead, like, he's a peer, so he's like also 6, but that kid needs a fucking kicking. He's just a little. He's the kid that is gonna be. I'm sorry, man. This ain't PC, but I don't care. He's the kid that is gonna be the guy in the comments when he's like 27 years old, like raining shit on other people's success because he's so jealous and such a waste of space himself. Like, and Riley's got a little glimpse, but I want him to get to a point where he knows by the time he's 10, 11 years old that there are people in this world that just want to shit on you, and not to have an ounce of care in their body about what comes out of their mouth. If I do my job properly, by the time he's able to start navigating the world of social, he should be aware of like, hey, people are going to call me ugly, they're going to comment on me. I don't care. That's more on them than on me. That's my job. That's how I'm thinking about it right now. He's obviously not entering the world of social for a good few years.
So you mentioned Instagram's got a minimum age of like 13.
I think so. I could be wrong.
It sounds potentially right. But TikTok, I might be drastically misquoting, but I swear TikTok has a very young audience, right? And I'm pretty sure I've seen ads on YouTube for it that are promoting positivity. That it's like, come on the platform, we're promoting positivity. But you get comments and stuff on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
So he could, if he wanted to go on TikTok now, would you let him?
No. God, no.
Why not?
2 reasons. One, the TikTok hole. I think I've experienced it. It's fucking deep. I've lost, honest to God, from like 10 till 3 o'clock one night. Just. Wow. So, because the stimulation, it just keeps you awake. It's just constant feedback loop. Boom, endorphin kick. It's crazy. I don't think a kid could handle that. Like, it's just like, I don't think you'd see him again. But also to that point I made earlier, like, if it's a social platform where he can be exposed to people that are keyboard warriors, I'm going to protect him from that right now. I haven't done my job, and I haven't even started my job on that world yet. I need to get him ready for the game. He's not ready for the game. He's not match fit. I need to get him ready for the game before I let him on anything. As soon as there is a world...
Especially if he wants to be a creator as well,
yeah.
right? So.
That's why YouTube, I'm like, yeah, we can create, but we're going to turn comments off.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Because what I don't want to then have to do as a dad is start censoring comments for him and doing that job to like be a defender, like a tackler in American football. Like, I don't want to play that game. I'd rather turn the comments off until I've done my job properly. Until the point where he can turn the comments on and say, I don't care what people say. I am who I am. Like, that's very aspirational.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm trying to build towards is... I don't want to call it thick skin because you kind of just make a kid sound like they're just a bit rough and ready. I think it's just I'm a bit more aware of what goes on in the world. And if people call me names over the internet, it's more of a reflection of them than me.
Yeah, I think it's the problem with all of it, right, is that we're all very sensitive to negative feedback. As in, if you say, "Oh, good job," you're like, "Cheers." Mm-hmm. But if someone said, "Bad job," you're like, "Oh," and it just it hits home so much more. And it's very easy to critique online. And especially as we've even talked about at work, because we use Slack, which is typed messages. It's very easy for a tone to be misinterpreted over text, even like text messages. And that's why like voice Jesus, can't speak today. Voice memos on WhatsApp are great because you get you just get the tone in the voice a lot more.
Yeah. But I think so. What you just said is terms of like good is thank you, bad is like terminal. It's like fuck. Yeah. I am literally I didn't realize what I was doing, but I'm literally training my kid ready for social without realizing. So Riley came to me the other day with a picture that he likes drawing now. So what he does actually is quite interesting. So he loves Fortnite, but we're restricting the amount of time he plays on Fortnite. Mm-hmm. Okay. So because he would play it all day if he could, and obviously COVID, homeschooling, can't do it during schooling day, and he earns the ability to play it in the evening by doing a good day at school.
Is that what you tell yourself when you play Call of Duty?
Yeah, exactly. I'm putting a good hours, good
Pat
few
on the
graft.
old back.
Yeah. Today went well. I get 2 hours. But what he does now is I've said, right, I want you to start doing other stuff, not just play Fortnite. So he's like, okay. So now he YouTubes Fortnite drawings, and there's how-tos of how to draw the characters in Fortnite, and he loves it. So he gets to draw Banana Guy and Gold Guy and all this stuff, and he draws it, and he's actually really good at it. But he came to me the other day with a picture. It was like, "Hey, Daddy, what do you think of this?" I was like, "It's not very good." Yeah. And he was kind of like, "Okay."
But you've seen him draw good things. Though.
Yeah. And I don't get me wrong. I praise him so hard when it's good, but I let him know. I'm like, "Hey, listen, I think you've rushed this. Like, you obviously just wanted to play Fortnite. Like, I think you've rushed it." And I would give him critical feedback, but he would be like, "Oh. So not everything I do is good.
The eyes suck. The feet are wrong.
Yeah, like
do better.
Stay within the lines, kid." But I give him honest feedback, and we'll be doing maths together or reading together. He'll be like, "How do you think I read tonight?" I'll be like, "Well, I don't think you paid attention, and I don't think you read as good as you could. I think you're better than this kid." And I never make it like you can do better. I always frame it as, you probably even heard me on the phone earlier talk to the kids.
Yeah.
It
sounded like a conference call with staff.
But
and maybe look, Riley, look, Reggie. It sounds like you're not actually committing to the work that you've been given. So I'm going to need you to step it up in Q3.
Post your OKRs. Where are your key results? But I agree. It was probably a bit OTT this morning because I was in proper work mode.
But I mean, like, you know what? Carry on.
Yeah. I tell the kids I want them to do their best work, and I keep pushing them to do that. And I never make it as like, I'm disappointed in you. I always now frame it as like, hey, don't let yourself down. And it's all about me trying to build them up so they want to be their best self, compared to I want to be better to be validated by another person. Even if the other person is my dad, I don't want to train that in my kid. I want to say, I want to do my best work. I don't give a shit if it's because there's 1,000 spectators or none. I want to do it for me, and that's what I'm trying to train into the kids now. And I think that translates into social in the future.
And that's why we do this show, for the millions of listeners and watchers.
Exactly. You know,
John.
but yeah, I think I haven't really put two and two together, but I think that will help him in the future. It's just that candid feedback from a very early age. Reggie gets it off me, and he ain't even 4. He's 4 next week. Like, he brings me stuff, and he's like, and I'm like, no, not really.
Like, take that shit back now. I don't even want it landing on my table right now.
You think that's going on the fridge? Fuck off. No.
It's not even going in the bin.
Redo it. But yeah, I give candid feedback, and I think that's helpful.
So to wrap up on the soch, any final words? Obviously the boys are super young right now, so you're not letting them on the big ones, but probably by the time that they're 13 and 14 there'll be something different.
Yeah.
But you're keeping them away from TikTok at the moment, which is really interesting.
Keeping them away from,
even though it's such like a fun platform.
But even as a consumption thing, I'm keeping them away from it.
That's what I was going to go back to. Like, it sounds like it's more.
Sorry to interrupt, but even when I'm browsing Facebook and he tries to sit next to me and see what I'm doing on my phone, I will then like turn it off and sit and chat with him, because I don't even want to expose him to what that is yet. Because I don't think I'm ready to tackle that, because it then plants the seed, and kids are relentless. Like, they'll just weigh you down over time.
Yeah, because there's like the whole thing of seeing mum and dad do stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly, and it's normal. And like, I think I've got a pretty good handle on social, and I think Sarah does overall. But and it goes so subconscious with kids. It's like, if they learn what Instagram is over the next 6 months by passively talking and watching and doing and seeing what mummy and daddy are doing, and then all of a sudden they see mummy getting stressed out because of something on this thing called, it kind of then creates like, oh, there's good, there's bad, there's negativity on this thing, and it's like stuff that is,
and it's important.
And there's conversations going on around it, and okay, so it's a thing that I should care about. These comments I should care about, and it's like all these weird little things that happen, and I'm like, keep social away from the kids right now, train them self-awareness, build them up, and then go, cool guys. And
just on like the important side of it, like when social media is used for just like you, Adam Callow, or whoever it is, you individual, it's not important, because it's just supposed to be pictures and comments and interacting with other people, because it's supposed to be a social platform. So it shouldn't be perceived as important. If you're using it as like a brand extension and things like that, then that's understandable. I think that's potentially an interesting thing, because obviously we use it for work. So it'll be interesting to see when Riley is creating to look at it in the sense of like analytics and engagement, and like drawing the difference between like content, for example, that you're putting out for people to actually view, and you want retention, you want engagement, compared to like, if this is a personal post that you just want to share to friends and family, you don't need engagement that is 80% better than your previous post.
But I think it's, we both listened to that like John Prosser episode of a podcast we listened to, and he was like, I do this I put out this content, whether I've got 100 or 1 million, and I can't remember the exact phrase or quote that he said, but it resonated with me. It's kind of like, I would do it even if no one was watching. And I was like,
and most of the time no one is watching.
Exactly. For 99% of all YouTubers, no one is watching. So I think, coming back to social, when they want to create, I think it's a really good point to sort of wrap up with, is it's a really good point. My first sort of step into this will be, hey, because Riley's already done it, he wants to create. And I'm like, I don't need to turn the social side of YouTube comments on. I can just say, cool, there's lots of different platforms for you to create on. You can turn comments off on most of them. So if he wants to get Instagram to create and post externally, and that becomes his platform to showcase who he is and what he's about, amazing. I think it's sort of like getting them into the creating because I want to create, and then worrying about actually how is it being perceived by other people is way down the line, and hopefully something they never really care about.
Cool. We'll wrap it up there, because we have gone on to the point where the camera just stopped.
But I think just on that, because when you were just checking if we've been cut off, I had an opportunity to think for 4 seconds. I think this is probably something that we'll revisit a lot.
Yeah.
In terms of like, as the kids grow up, like how they start operating with social. And to your point, you said something interesting, which is like, if it's a business thing, it's one thing, and if it's a personal thing, it's another. The problem that I have by taking work home with me is because we operate our business and we've got business groups, they can see me a lot on what they class as social.
Yeah.
And getting stressed because it's work. Like there's stuff going on in these groups that I'm trying to control and put out fires. So I'm really trying to be actively not use social in front of the kids. But super interesting dynamic, but we'll probably revisit this a number of times.
Yeah. I think with all this, it just boils down to like being able to have adult conversations, explaining and justifying certain things to worry about, don't worry about comments, consider this, don't consider that, whatever. Yeah.
The real thing is, the next time we jump on the mics and talk about this will be when Riley comes to me and says, Dad, my friends are on Snapchat or TikTok. Like, I want an account too.
Because there's always going to be a kid that's got it.
Yeah, there's always some kid that's got like, yeah. But then I'm like,
their parents don't give a fuck.
But then it's like, okay, cool. I can push back the one kid, but and this is like another thing. I don't want my kid to be the only kid that ain't talking, because I'm creating like a dynamic. I'm like, I should have taught him quicker. Like it's that balancing act. But when he asked me that question, we'll jump back on the mics.
Cool. We'll leave it there, guys. Thank you so much for watching, all 6,000 of you. Will it, and it will happen. And there's actually loads of people that are listening. So yeah, thank you so much for sticking with us weekly, keeping up to date on the latest that's happening. I mean, we didn't do an update today. We just had a bit of a chin wag, continued on, but let us know what you want to hear. If you've got any questions or some tips or advice, or you want advice and tips.
Don't email us if you want fucking advice and tips.
You can, don't listen to Adam. Email dadknowsbest@nbs.fm.
Subject line for the attention of Harry if you're asking for advice.
FAO Big H. And until next time, guys, speak to you later.